What would you do if a single act of kindness unraveled a secret that shook your entire world? In the heart of a bustling city, where neon lights flickered against the dusk, Jack Thornton walked alone. A retired Marine, his broad shoulders carried the weight of wars fought and brothers lost. His eyes, once sharp with vigilance, now held a quiet sorrow, softened only by the routine of his solitary evenings. The scars on his hands told stories he never shared, and the city's noise was a hollow comfort against the silence of his past. Jack's boots echoed on the cracked pavement as he cut through an alley, a shortcut to the diner where he'd nurse a coffee until midnight. The air was thick with the scent of rain and garbage, but something else caught his attention, a muffled cry, sharp and desperate. He slowed, instincts kicking in. Around the corner, he saw them. 3 older teens circling a smaller boy like vultures. The kid, no older than 14, was pressed against a brick wall, his backpack spilling books onto the wet ground. His eyes darted, wide with fear, but his jaw was set, defiant. Without a word, Jack stepped forward. His presence alone was enough, a towering figure, his weathered face unyielding. The bullies froze, their bravado crumbling under his stare. "Walk away," Jack said, his voice low, steady, like the calm before a storm. They hesitated, then scattered, their footsteps fading into the night. The boy slumped against the wall, catching his breath, his hands trembling as he gathered his things. "You okay, kid?" Jack asked, crouching to help pick up a tattered notebook. The boy nodded, his dark hair falling over his eyes. "Thanks, mister. They've been at me for weeks." His voice was quiet but steady, carrying a resilience that struck Jack. There was something familiar in the boy's face, a spark that tugged at a memory Jack couldn't place. "I'm Ethan," the boy said, offering a shy smile. "Ethan Carter." Jack's heart skipped, but he brushed it off. Carter was a common name. He handed Ethan the notebook, noticing a photo taped inside a man in a Marine uniform, grinning proudly. Jack's breath caught. The face was unmistakable. "Your dad?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Ethan's smile faded. He died when I was 6. Afghanistan." Jack's mind raced, the alley spinning around him. He knew that face, Lieutenant Daniel Carter, his closest friend in the Corps. They'd saved each other's lives more times than Jack could count, until the day an IED took Daniel and left Jack with guilt that never faded. He'd never known Daniel had a son. "You're Daniel's boy?" Jack's voice cracked, his stoic facade crumbling. Ethan nodded, confused by the stranger's reaction. "You knew him?" Jack's knees weakened, and he leaned against the wall, the weight of years crashing down. "Knew him? He was my brother. He saved my life." The words spilled out, raw and unguarded. Ethan's eyes widened, searching Jack's face as if seeing him for the first time. Jack learned Ethan's mother had passed a year ago, leaving him with an aunt who struggled to keep up. The bullies targeted him for his worn clothes and quiet nature, but Ethan carried his father's courage. Jack saw Daniel in every gesture, the way Ethan stood tall despite his fear, the way he spoke with quiet conviction. Over the next hour, they talked in the alley, the city fading around them. Jack shared stories of Daniel's bravery, his laughter, his stubborn hope. Ethan soaked in every word, hungry for pieces of a father he barely knew. As they walked to the diner, Jack made a silent vow. He'd watch over Ethan, not just for Daniel, but for the kid's own fire. Weeks turned to months. Jack became a mentor, teaching Ethan to box, to stand up to bullies, to carry his father's legacy with pride. But the real change was in Jack. The guilt that had haunted him began to lift, replaced by purpose. Ethan wasn't just Daniel's son, was a second chance. One evening, as they sat over milkshakes, Ethan slid a folded letter across the table. "Found this in Dad's things," he said. Jack opened it, recognizing Daniel's handwriting. It was addressed to him, written days before that fateful mission. "If I don't make it, look after my family. You're the only one I trust, Jack." Tears stung Jack's eyes. He'd failed Daniel once, but not again. Years later, at Ethan's high school graduation, Jack stood in the crowd, his chest swelling with pride. Ethan, now tall and confident, caught his eye and grinned Daniel's grin. The boy had become a man, and Jack had found a family. In saving Ethan, Jack had saved himself, proving that even in a world of loss, one act of courage could rewrite a story's ending.